The space station floated quietly above a glowing blue planet. It was supposed to be a peaceful place, a neutral ground where aliens and humans could meet, talk, and avoid war. Jack Turner, a human pilot, didn't expect anything exciting when he took the job. He just wanted to fix ships, deliver supplies, and stay out of trouble. But trouble had a way of finding him. That morning, alarms rang across the docking bay. A small alien vessel crash-landed near the human section. Smoke rose from its engines, and the security team ran toward it. Jack didn't wait, he rushed. In first, ignoring orders to stay back. Inside the ship, he found her. She was lying on the floor, breathing hard, her skin glowing like moonlight. Her body was slim, her features soft but otherworldly. She had silver eyes and short glowing hair that floated slightly, as if it ignored gravity. She looked up at Jack with confusion and something else, fear. "It's okay," Jack said gently. "You're safe now." He picked her up carefully. She was cold, shaking. Her body felt light to light. As he carried her toward the med bay, she whispered something in her own language. The translator on his shoulder buzzed and struggled with the words. Then, softly, the device translated, "You are my light." Jack blinked. What?" Before he could say more, she touched his face, smiled faintly, and kissed him. It was quick, soft, and warm. Jack froze. He hadn't expected that, not from an alien girl who looked half-conscious. The security team arrived seconds later and pulled them apart. They took her to the med bay, and Jack was ordered back to his quarters. He spent the rest of the day trying to forget the strange moment. Maybe it was a cultural thing, like a thank you. Maybe the translator had glitched. Whatever it was, Jack didn't think much more of it. He just wanted sleep. But the next morning, everything changed. A knock on his door woke him up. He opened it, rubbing his eyes, and nearly dropped his coffee. It was her. The alien girl stood outside, smiling shyly. She wore a flowing robe made of glowing threads. But that wasn't the shocking part. In her arms, she held a small glowing bundle like a baby wrapped in warm silk. "You," she said sweetly, "our father." Jack's mouth opened, but no words came out. "Excuse me." She walked inside without waiting. The baby made a soft cooing sound. It had tiny fingers, soft, glowing skin, and bright silver eyes like hers. But Jack saw something else, something terrifying. The baby had a human nose, a human mouth, and a tiny patch of brown hair. "Nope," Jack muttered, backing away. "Nope, that's not possible. That's not how this works." The alien girl sat calmly on his couch and rocked the child gently. "You kissed me," she said. Jack pointed at her. "You kissed me, and what? The next day there's a baby?" She nodded happily. "Yes, our bond was true." Jack felt like his brain was melting. "Listen, I don't know how your species works, but humans don't. This is impossible." She tilted her head. "But the stars chose. You are now life giver. The signs do not lie." He looked at the child again. Its tiny eyes met his, and suddenly, Jack felt a strange warmth in his chest. The baby smiled at him. Something pulled at his heart, a feeling he didn't understand. Not fear, not confusion. Something deeper. Connection. Jack took a step forward, without thinking. "What is this, really?" The alien girl stood up and moved closer. Her voice was soft, but serious now. "In my world, the first kiss shares essence. When two souls match, a child is born by starlight. The kiss begins the bond. That is how our ancestors lived. It is rare now, very rare." Jack stared at her. "And you're saying, your people think I'm your match?" She nodded. "And now, you must protect your child, or others will come for it." Before Jack could ask who or why, his communication device buzzed. A warning from command. "Report to medbay. Emergency council meeting. Possible diplomatic incident." The alien girl looked into his eyes. "They will try to take the child, but only you can keep it safe." Jack looked from her to the baby, then back. He didn't ask for any of this, but somehow deep inside, he knew one thing: there was no turning back now. Jack stared at the baby glowing softly in the alien girl's arms. He couldn't stop blinking. His body refused to move, but his mind was racing like a ship crashing into light speed. Everything he knew about humans, about biology, about how Babies were made was wrong, or at least useless here. She stood silently, waiting for him to speak. But what could he say? I don't even know your name, he finally whispered. The girl tilted her head, as if confused by the question. My people don't speak names unless bonded. But now, I may give mine to you. I am Yari, Yari, a name. As soft as a breeze, Jack repeated it in his mind like a chant, trying to ground himself in reality. But nothing about the situation felt real. Yesterday he had kissed her by accident. No, not accident. It had been sudden, but gentle. He thought it was a cultural gesture of thanks, a moment. That was all. Now, a baby that somehow looked part human had entered his life. She called him the father, and her face showed no doubt, no hesitation, only calm certainty. I need answers, Jack said, trying to sound firm even though his knees felt like jelly. How is this possible? What did that kiss do? Why do you keep saying I'm the father? She gently rocked the baby in her arms, as if Jack's questions were background noise. You gave part of yourself to me through the kiss. My body accepted it. My soul accepted it. The seed of starlight was planted. Jack almost laughed, but the way she said it, so peaceful, so serious. Stop the humor before it could rise. That's not how reproduction works. Humans need, more than kissing. Her expression changed for the first time, slight amusement in her silvery eyes. Your people need that. Mine do not. Our energy chooses. We were compatible, and now life has begun. Jack rubbed his face hard, hoping he'd wake up. But no dream had ever felt this solid. Then came the knock. 3 sharp thuds, mechanical, heavy. The kind of knock that only military boots make. Jack froze. Yari stepped back, clutching the baby protectively. Another knock. He stepped to the door and pressed the screen. Outside stood 2 tall armored guards. Behind them was Commander Ellis, the human leader of this station. His face was tight with stress. Open up, Turner. We need to talk. Now, Jack opened the door slowly. If this is about the kiss, I didn't mean anything. We'll talk inside. Ellis cut in and stepped forward, waving the guards back. Once inside, Ellis's gaze landed on the baby. His eyebrows twitched. So the rumors are true. Rumors? Jack asked. Half the station's already talking. Alien girl kisses a human, and next day she brings a hybrid baby to his room. This isn't gossip, Jack. This is a political bomb. Jack stepped between Ellis and Yari without thinking. She says it's my kid. I don't even know how. She says, Ellis repeated. And you believe her? Jack hesitated. She's from the Tsari. Ellis went on. You know what that means? Their biology is almost entirely energy-based. We know next to nothing about them. Their royalty believes in ancient prophecies, soul-bonded warriors, light-born heirs. If that baby is real, it could be a threat. Yari didn't flinch. She moved to the window, letting the baby bask in the soft sunlight. He is not a threat, she said calmly. He is the link. Ellis gave her a long look, then turned back to Jack. You're being summoned to the High Council. Both of you. And the child. They want to run tests. Tests? Jack narrowed his eyes. On a newborn? On you too. DNA. Brain scans. The works. If this is some kind of bioweapon. Jack raised his hand. Stop. Just stop. He's not a weapon. He's just a baby. I don't understand it, but I saw his eyes. I felt something. I know he's connected to me. Ellis crossed his arms. Then prove it. What if I don't want to go? Then we'll take you. That changed the air in the room. Jack stood taller. I won't let them poke and prod that child like he's some science experiment. Yari stepped forward. I will go. I have nothing to hide. But if harm comes to the child, the stars will strike back. Ellis looked at her strangely, then at Jack. You'd better hope this is just biology, and not prophecy, or we're all in trouble. He turned and left. The door hissed shut behind him. Jack felt the silence settle again, heavy and sharp. He turned to Yari, who now looked tired, sad. Will they hurt him? He asked. Not if you protect us, she said softly. You are more than just a human now. You are chosen, even if you don't know why yet. Jack sat down, running both hands through his hair. He looked at the baby again. It smiled. He didn't know what tomorrow would bring, but right now, in this quiet moment, the weight of fate rested in his arms and it was smiling at him like it had already decided. Jack hadn't spoken a word since the ship left the station. He stared out the small viewing window, watching stars blur into light as they traveled through the jump tunnel. Yari sat across from him, gently humming to the baby, who now looked even healthier than before, glowing faintly like a flame hidden behind soft silk. He tried to stay calm, but his mind felt like it was tearing apart. One kiss, that's all it took. Now he was flying to the Galactic Council's capital world to prove that he was, somehow, the father of a half-human, half-alien baby who shouldn't even exist. "Why me?" he asked. Voice low. Yari didn't answer right away. She only looked at him with those soft silver eyes. "Because your soul spoke first." Jack blinked. "That's not science." "No," she replied. "It's deeper." The transport docked at a floating citadel above a golden world. Tall, glowing towers pierced the clouds. Alien ships circled like birds of prey. Silent and watchful, a dozen guards waited as they stepped off the ship. They didn't speak. They only scanned Jack, Yari, and the baby, then nodded and led them down a long hall made of crystal and light. Inside the chamber, 3 tall figures waited, representatives of the Galactic Council. One was a Grellan with scales like molten rock and eyes like black suns. The second was a Selenary elder, glowing faintly in layers of silk. The third was human, an old woman with a face full of wrinkles and wisdom. The human elder spoke first. "Jack Turner, you've caused quite a stir." He cleared his throat. "Didn't mean to." She smiled slightly. "You are not the first human to stumble into something cosmic, but you may be the first to create a child of 2 worlds, with only a kiss." The Grellan snorted. "If it's real, we'll see soon enough," said the Selenary. "Proceed." A smooth table extended from the floor. Jack hesitated, but placed his hand in the scanner. A small pinch, a warm pulse, then it was done. They scanned Yari too. Then they took a single drop of light from the baby. Yes, light, not blood. Moments later, holographic data spun above their heads. The Selenary elder gasped. The DNA map wasn't normal. The baby had both human and Sari markers, but something else pulsed in the core strand. A spiral of unknown energy, glowing brighter than anything in the scan. "What is that?" Jack asked. Stepping closer, the human elder studied the image. "That is something we've never seen. It's older than our records," whispered the Selenary. "Encoded starlight. It only appears in ancient genetic records, from before the last collapse." Yari stepped forward, holding the baby. "Close. He is not a danger. He is a sign. The prophecy speaks of a union between flame and light. When the two become one, the child will carry the will of the stars." Jack looked around. "You think that's us?" The Grellan growled. "Or it's a trick." The human elder narrowed her eyes. "We've tested the DNA. It's real, no fabrication. This child is a genetic impossibility. Yet here he is." The Grellan slammed a heavy clawed hand onto the table. "Then destroy it now, before it becomes something worse." "No," Jack shouted, stepping in front of the baby. Yari placed a hand on his arm. "Let me speak." She walked to the center of the chamber. "My people gave up on the prophecy long ago. They stopped believing. But the stars have chosen again. We did not plan this. It happened because we are ready, and because he was brave, enough to care for someone he didn't understand." The baby laughed softly. Every council member turned at the sound. The laughter echoed, almost musical, and the air shimmered for just a second. Jack looked down and saw that the crystal floor beneath the baby's feet had changed, shifting into a glowing star pattern. "What just happened?" he asked. "The child's energy touched the floor," said the Selenary. "Only beings of ancient origin can shape crystal stone." The human elder stood slowly. "He is not a weapon. He is something else. Something we do not fully understand." The Grellan grunted. "And that makes him dangerous." Jack stepped forward. "Everything unknown is dangerous. So was spaceflight. So were humans. But we're here now. Maybe he's here for a reason." The council chambers fell into silence. Then the human elder nodded. "You and the child will remain under observation in neutral territory. You are not prisoners, but you must not leave until we understand more." Jack opened his mouth to argue, but then stopped. He looked at Yari. She gave him the smallest nod, trusting him. He sighed. Fine, but I stay with him, no matter what. The human elders smiled again. We wouldn't dare separate you, as guards escorted them to their quarters. Jack looked down at the baby in Yari's arms. It reached up and touched his chin with tiny fingers. And for a brief moment, Jack felt something new. Not fear, not pressure, but power, and something else, purpose. The room they gave them was large but quiet, far too quiet for Jack's liking. Walls of smooth crystal reflected their movements like ghosts, and strange plants floated in the air, gently glowing. It wasn't a prison, but it didn't feel like freedom either. Jack sat on the soft edge of the floating bed, elbows on knees, watching the baby rest in Yari's arms. He had expected the child to sleep, to eat, to cry like human infants. But this baby barely blinked, barely moved, yet it felt so alive, more aware than it should be. Too aware. Is it normal? He finally asked. Yari looked down at the child with something like pride. He is perfect. That's not an answer, Jack muttered. He barely even breathes. He does not need to, she said softly. He is beyond that now. Before Jack could ask more, the baby opened its eyes, silver at first, then something shifted, bright lights, swirling like galaxies. Jack leaned back slightly. The baby looked directly at him. Protector, it whispered. Jack's blood ran cold. He looked at Yari. Did you hear that? She didn't answer. Her hands trembled, just a little. Yari? She clutched the baby tighter, eyes wide. He spoke. Yeah, I heard that. He said, no. She whispered. He spoke. In the first tongue. Jack frowned. What's that? Our oldest language, she said, voice thin with awe. Only the high singers can still speak it. It's not taught anymore. It's born into certain chosen ones. Jack stood, pacing now. A newborn speaking some dead alien language and calling me protector. That doesn't sound like a good sign. It means he remembers, Yari said. Standing to. It means he carries something ancient. Before Jack could respond, the walls pulsed blue. A tone echoed through the room. Then a voice spoke overhead. Mr. Turner, please remain calm. There has been an incident. Jack moved toward the wall. What kind of incident? The voice continued. A security breach occurred near the observation wing. Unknown intruders. We are increasing your security detail. Jack looked at Yari. This has to be about him. She nodded. They know now. Who's they? Before she could answer, the crystal wall parted. For guards rushed in. Not the usual council ones. These wore darker armor, faces hidden. Their weapons weren't drawn, but their presence screamed tension. One of them stepped forward. We've been ordered to move you both to a secure wing. Jack stepped between them and Yari. You mean lock us away? No, sir, the soldier said calmly. We're protecting the child. Council's orders. I want to hear that from the council, not from someone in a mask. The soldier pressed a badge. A moment later, a small hologram appeared. Commander Ellis, his face serious. Jack, listen. Something just hit the outer rings of the station. We don't know who, but it's not pirates. It was too fast, too clean. This wasn't random. You think they're after him? Ellis nodded. It's more than a guess. We intercepted a coded message. Someone sold intel about the baby. Jack clenched his fists. So what happens now? You hide us. We protect you, Ellis said firmly. But I won't lie. Someone out there wants that baby, and they don't care who gets hurt. Jack turned to Yari. Do we trust them? She looked at the guards, then at the baby, who now cooed softly, unaware of the tension. If we stay, he may be taken. If we run, he may be hunted. Those sound like bad options. There's one more, she said. Jack raised an eyebrow. Yeah. Yari closed her eyes. The baby reached out and touched her chest. The air in the room shifted. The lights flickered. A low hum filled the space. Then something impossible happened. The baby began to float. Its tiny body rose gently, wrapped in golden light. Symbols formed in the air around him, lines of ancient script, glowing in patterns Jack didn't understand. Jack took a step back. Yari, what is this? He is choosing. Choosing what? The baby's voice echoed, not aloud, but inside their minds. The protector shall be marked. The light struck Jack's chest. He staggered, clutching himself. Heat flooded his body, burning, wild, yet somehow familiar. Then the light faded. Jack gasped, dropping to his knees. Something pulsed under his shirt. He looked down and pulled the fabric aside. A mark had formed over his heart, glowing, circular, alive, like it was breathing. What did he do to me? Yari knelt beside him. Her hands touched the mark. He bonded you. Now no one can separate you. Not without breaking the stars. The guards backed away slowly. Jack stood, heart racing. Guess that secure wing won't be needed anymore. Yari smiled softly. He has chosen his guardian. Now they will come faster. Jack grabbed a small bag and shoved supplies into it. Then we leave tonight. Yari wrapped the baby tight, her voice low and calm. There's a place they won't follow. A world where the stars sleep. Jack raised an eyebrow. That sounds like a great vacation spot. She met his eyes. It's not. But it's safe. He nodded once. Then that's where we go. And behind them, the lights in the room flickered again, this time in rhythm with the baby's soft breathing, like the heartbeat of something greater awakening. The escape didn't start with alarms. It started with silence. Too much silence. Jack pressed his ear to the smooth crystal wall. No footsteps. No voices, just the hum of energy far below. That wasn't right. There were always guards outside. Always the faint shuffle of armored boots. Tonight, nothing. He turned to Yari, who stood at the far end of the room, wrapping the baby in a soft cloak made of shimmering fabric. Her fingers moved with care, but her eyes never left the door. They've already pulled the guards. Jack whispered, "They're making it look empty so no one notices what's about to happen." She nodded slowly. "They're coming." Jack checked the weapon the council gave him, not standard military, just a small energy pistol meant for defense, not enough to stop trained killers. He tightened the strap of his bag and moved toward the exit. The crystal wall slid open. Beyond it stood a tall, narrow hallway filled with soft light. Empty, too. Empty. He stepped forward carefully, Yari behind him, baby in her arms. The hallway curved gently, and ahead at the end was the transport pad. Just a few more steps, and they could teleport off this floating palace and disappear into the star network. Then the lights flickered. Jack froze. Yari whispered, "Behind us." He turned. 6 figures stepped from the walls. They didn't walk. They glided. Their bodies shimmered like shadow and steel, and their faces were hidden under smooth, black masks. No insignia, no words, just silence and weapons. Jack raised his pistol. "Don't move." The nearest figure ignored him and stepped forward. "Hand raised," I said. Jack fired. The shot hit the figure's chest. It staggered but didn't fall. The cloak burned away, revealing armor underneath. Alien, unknown. The thing raised its hand, and a blue pulse flew toward Jack. He dove aside, the blast hitting the wall behind him with a burst of sparks. He fired again, but the figures were already moving fast, coordinated, silent. Yari backed against the wall, shielding the baby with her body. One of the attackers lunged. Jack didn't think he tackled the figure midair, both of them slamming into the floor. He punched, the armor crunching under his knuckles, but another grabbed him from behind. He twisted free just as a loud sound filled the hallway, a scream, sharp and strange. It wasn't Yari. It was the baby, but it wasn't a normal scream. It was a pulse. A wave of energy exploded outward, knocking every attacker off their feet. The lights burst above them, sending shards raining down. Jack landed hard, chest heaving. When he looked up, the hallway was glowing. Every wall shimmered with starlight. Symbols danced across the surfaces, ancient and unreadable. The attackers groaned, trying to rise, but their armor cracked, their weapons turned dark. The baby floated above Yari's arms, eyes glowing gold. Jack blinked. He did that? Yari's voice shook. "He's protecting us." Jack grabbed her hand. "Then let's not waste it." They ran. The transport pad activated as they reached it. Jack keyed in the destination, one of the few planets without a government. A world of outlaws, smugglers, and traitors. Dangerous, yes, but also invisible. The pad hummed. Yari stepped on with the baby. Jack joined her, weapons still hot in his hand. Just before the light consumed them, one of the attackers raised his head. His mask was cracked, revealing a single, terrified eye. You shouldn't exist, the man rasped. You'll break the balance. Jack stared at him, then replied coldly, balance was never real. And the light took them. They landed in chaos. A marketplace buzzed with noise and heat. Alien creatures moved between stalls. Strange music echoed from somewhere. Smoke curled from grills. And machines clanked as traders haggled in 100 languages. Jack stumbled forward, blinking. The air smelled like spice and oil. They were no longer in danger, at least not from the council. But this world was wild. Yari stepped beside him, her eyes scanning the crowds. This place is hidden, she said. They will not find us here easily. Jack nodded. But they'll keep trying. The baby was quiet again, sleeping peacefully now, as if nothing had happened. Jack stared at the child's face, then at his own trembling hands. He had just fought 6 silent killers, watched a baby release energy that melted armor, and now stood on a lawless world surrounded by strangers, and somehow this felt normal already. He looked at Yari. We need answers. About him. About what he is. We'll find them, she said. There are still elders, old ones, who remember the stars before the darkness, and you trust them. No, she said, but he will know who to trust. They walked into the crowd together, disappearing beneath the neon lights, while far above them, in a hidden corner of space, a message pulsed through an ancient beacon. The starburn has awakened. The protector has been marked. The balance is shifting, and the galaxy began to tremble. The air in the outlaw market was thick with smoke and secrets. Alien languages crackled through the speakers, most untranslatable even for Jack's implant. Strange lights pulsed from broken signs, and creatures with too many eyes or no faces at all moved like shadows through the alleys. It was the kind of place where questions got you killed and names were currency. You couldn't spend twice. Jack kept his head down, one hand on the grip of his pistol, the other gently resting near Yari's arm as she carried the child close to her chest. The baby slept soundly, even here, where death hid behind every vendor and doorway. It was like he didn't feel fear, like something protected him from it. Or worse, like he'd never known it. They passed a weapons stall where a 6-armed merchant cleaned blades that whispered with energy. Jack slowed, eyeing the tools, but Yari shook her head slightly. We don't need weapons, she said. Jack scanned the crowds again. I disagree. They reached a shadowy corner of the market where a staircase spiraled down between rusted walls. Yari stopped, staring into the dark. He's down there, she said. Jack squinted. Who? One of the elders. He lives below the trade. Lines beneath the black vault. Sounds cozy, Jack muttered. Yari didn't smile. He remembers the old light. If anyone knows what the baby truly is, it's him. Jack nodded and pulled a small light from his belt. They descended into the dark. The stairs were long and narrow, creaking with every step. At the bottom, a curved door waited, rusted and silent. Yari pressed her hand against it, and strange symbols lit up beneath her palm. The door hissed open. The room beyond was cold, not in temperature, something deeper. The air felt old, heavy. In the center sat a creature that wasn't quite solid, a body of bones wrapped in floating threads of glowing mist. His eyes were like hollow stars. Come forward, he said. His voice was a whisper, yet it filled the entire room. Jack kept his weapon down but ready. You're the elder? The being didn't move. Names are forgotten in places like this. I remember what matters. Yari stepped forward and bowed. We need to know. She held out the baby. The elder's eyes flickered. So he whispered, it is true. The starburn has returned. Jack stepped beside her. What does that mean? Everyone keeps calling him that like it's supposed to scare us. It should. The elder replied, the last starburn ended a war that nearly burned the galaxy to ash. Jack blinked. Ended? You mean started? No. The elder said. He ended it by erasing both sides. Silence filled the room. Jack stepped back. You're saying he's some kind of weapon? No, the elder said. He is balance. But balance is not gentle. It destroys what is too heavy to survive. Yari looked down at the child. He chose his protector, the elders. Hollow eyes stared at Jack. Then the storm will follow you. Jack exhaled. Great, more storms. The elder lifted a hand. Energy flickered between his fingers, and for a moment, Jack felt something shift in his chest like the mark on his heart was reacting. "He's connected to you," the elder whispered. "You are not just his guardian. You are his anchor." Jack frowned. "Anchor? He is not fully of this galaxy," the elder said. "His energy comes from the first light, the original force before time. Without you, he would drift." Jack shook his head. "I didn't ask for any of this." The elder stared at him for a long time. None who carry fire ever do. Then the elder's eyes glowed brighter. "But there is more." He motioned to Yari. "The mother carries a trace. Not of this child. Of another." Jack turned to her. "What's he talking about?" Yari's hands trembled. "I don't know." But the baby-stirred eyes still closed and reached one tiny hand toward the elder. The energy in the room pulsed again. The elder whispered, "He sees what we cannot. Another is coming." Jack felt his spine tighten. "Another what?" The elder didn't answer. Instead, the lights in the room snapped off. Then a tremor rolled through the floor. Yari stepped back, holding the baby close. "They found us." Jack grabbed his weapon. "We need a way out." The elder's form began to fade. "Use the old tunnels, through the shrine beneath the market. They won't follow there." "Why not?" "Because even they fear what sleeps below." And just like that, the elder vanished, leaving behind only swirling mist. Jack turned to Yari. "What did he mean another is coming?" She looked at him, face pale. "I don't think he meant an enemy." The baby opened its eyes then, calm as ever. And he spoke again, one word this time. "Twin." Jack's blood ran cold. Yari clutched the baby tightly. "There's another like him?" Jack looked toward the trembling ceiling. "Then we'd better find it before someone else does." And from above, distant footsteps grew louder. The shrine beneath the market didn't welcome visitors, it swallowed them. Jack moved through the tight passage, his boots crunching over strange bones that glowed faintly under the dim blue lights. The air was thicker here, colder. He couldn't tell if it was the chill of ancient stone or the weight of something watching from the dark. Yari walked behind him, holding the baby close. He didn't cry, didn't move, just stared forward with those glowing eyes like he already knew where they were going. The walls were covered in carvings, spirals, stars, eyes, symbols that pulsed faintly as they passed. Jack didn't touch them. Some things were better left unread. They used to bring offerings here. Yari whispered. "To what?" Jack asked, eyes scanning the dark ahead. She hesitated. "To the first starburn." Jack stopped. "You're saying this place was built for another version of him?" Yari nodded slowly. "Long ago, before records, before even my kind counted time." Jack let that sink in. He had taken a job fixing ships. He liked his peace, his routine. Now he was marching through a cursed shrine, with a glowing alien baby who could speak in languages older than dust. And apparently, that baby had a twin. They reached a chamber, wide and circular, carved into the rock. In the center stood a tall monolith, cracked and humming softly. As they stepped closer, the baby lifted one tiny hand and the entire monolith, lit up with ancient symbols, spinning across its surface like liquid fire. A deep tone echoed through the chamber. Jack raised his weapon, but nothing attacked. Instead, a second light appeared from behind the monolith. A pod small, smooth, untouched by time rose from the floor. Its surface glowed softly, like it had been waiting. Yari gasped, "It's real." Jack stepped forward slowly. "Is that?" The pod opened with a soft hiss. Inside was another child, smaller, paler, eyes shut, but breathing, curled like a sleeping star. And resting beside the baby was a single word, etched in the surface beneath him. "Balance." Jack stared in disbelief. "That's the twin." Yari nodded, breath catching. "Not born like ours. Preserved." Jack looked at their own child, who now stared at the pod without blinking. No fear, no surprise, just a recognition. Like he had been waiting for this. Suddenly the chamber trembled. Jack spun, weapon raised. A voice echoed from the shadows. "I told them it was true. They didn't believe me." A figure stepped into view. It wasn't masked. It wasn't armored. It was human. An old man, dressed in a torn diplomatic coat, marked with Earth's long-forgotten insignia. Jack tensed. "Who are you?" The man smiled. "I'm the one who found the shrine first, who kept the twin hidden, and who warned." The council that when the Starburn returned, the galaxy would change forever. Jack's grip tightened. Are you here to take them? The man shook his head. No, I'm here to help you disappear. Yari stepped forward, her voice steady. Why now? Because the other factions are coming, he said. Not just the ones who want to destroy the child. Some want to worship him, others want to use him. You don't have time to choose who to trust. You only have time to run. Jack looked at the sleeping twin. He's real, and he's waking up. The child stirred, then opened his eyes. No glow, no light, only pure black, endless and deep. Jack's breath caught. Yari knelt between the twins. One carries light, she whispered, and one carries the dark. But both are needed. The man nodded. The universe spins between them. The last time, the Starburn chose no anchor. The result was ruin. This time, it chose you. Jack stared at the glowing mark on his chest, still pulsing softly. The baby in Yari's arms reached toward his twin. The other baby blinked, then reached back. Their tiny fingers touched, and the monolith burst with light. The walls of the shrine shivered. Symbols burned bright. The air cracked like thunder. The entire chamber lit up in a column of starlight that shot straight into the sky, piercing stone, metal, and cloud. Everyone in the marketplace looked up. Everyone in the sky saw it. And every signal in the quadrant lit with one message. They have awakened. The old man stepped back. You have to go, now. Jack looked to Yari. She nodded. He scooped up the sleeping twin gently, slinging his bag over his shoulder. Where? There's a ship hidden beneath the shrine, the man said. Built for this moment. You'll find coordinates in its memory. You don't need to know where it goes. You only need to survive. Jack glanced back at the shrine one last time. The light was fading, but something had changed. He didn't know what the twins would become, what their presence meant for the galaxy, but deep down, he knew this wasn't just about protection anymore. It was about purpose. He followed Yari into the shadows, to Starburn in their arms, light and dark, future and fate. And behind them, the galaxy began to turn.